I just wanted to share with you guys some things that I've been doing that have really helped me over the last, really about, I'd say probably the last 4 or 5 weeks. I've really turned it up a notch when it comes to writing business, and I'm doing a lot of business just working 3 days out in the field every week. So just kind of wanted to go through that with you guys. For those of you who don't know me, I know there may be some new people on this morning. I've added a YouTube Live, also LinkedIn on here, and so thanks those of you that are hopping on from those platforms. But a little bit about me: I've been in the business now 20 years. Got going back in 2003. Primarily focused on final expense. I did a little bit with health insurance and Medicare supplements my first year in the business. After that, primarily just focused on final expense. I was with one company, and again, most of my time in the business was almost kind of more of like what you'd call like a captive sort of situation. I worked primarily with one company for about 11 and a half years. And then I took on the role as, I guess you could call it almost like a regional manager with another company for about 7.5 years. So I just entered the broker world, I guess you could say, back in November, December of this past year. I'm in the process of building my own brand, my own IMO, and so far so good. But I've always felt the best way to teach people is to show people that you know how to do it yourself too. And like I said, 20 years in the business, I do have a lot of experience and a lot of success, and just wanted to kind of share a lot of that with you guys today. So, as I mentioned, just last week, just a really good week. Wrote over 11,000 in premium in just 3 days out in the field. And like I mentioned, my goal is really for everybody that I work with, even if you're just hopping on, if you're not a part of what I'm doing, great. You know what? If you can pick up some ideas for me, that's awesome. But just wanted to kind of share what I've been doing, like I said, that have helped me to be successful over these last few weeks, and especially last week. So now, for those of you who know me, you would know that I'm a big baseball fan. I'm really into the Cubs, especially. I live just about maybe 45 minutes south of Chicago. So, always been big into baseball. But, I was thinking about this yesterday, like when you hit a hot streak, and even in baseball, now this is a picture back from like probably 07, 08. This is Alfonso Soriano. Now, he was one that I would always remember when he hit a hot streak. He could hit pretty much anything that was pitched to him. It could be a ball low and away. It could be up and in. It didn't matter. Like, you could not get this guy out when he was, on a roll, when he was on a hot streak. And that's really kind of how I've been feeling the last few weeks. Just, you get in these, you get into like these little streaks, I guess you could say, where just everything's going your way, and you got to really roll with it when that happens. I mean, we all hit, bumps in the road too here and there, but when things are going good, we really gotta, let it go. And like I said, back, it just kind of reminds me back of back Alfonso Soriano. I mean, he maybe wasn't the best hitter, but when he was hot, you couldn't get him out. Another example would probably be like even Barry Bonds back in 2003, where he hit the home run record, or broke the home run record. And there were pitchers that were intentionally walking him. And I can't remember who it was a few years ago. There was someone who got intentionally walked when the bases were loaded. But same sort of thing. But you hit these streaks, like I said, you just gotta have to run with it. So this is a quote that I want you to remember. This is from Tom Hopkins. If you've never listened to his audio, it's pretty good. I used to listen to him a lot when I first got in the business. He was real big into real estate, I believe, but just a quote that I'll always remember. And it's a quote that, like I said, when I'm kind of putting my week together, this is something that I'm always going to remember. Work in selling is only the time you spend in front of someone who is qualified to say yes to your product or service. Everything else is preparatory. So if you can instill that in your mind, the only time you're really working is when you're sitting in front of somebody that you have that opportunity to help them and be able to make a sale. Everything else is preparatory. And that's kind of the way that I put my whole week together, my day together. I always focus on who can I go see next. Any time that I'm spending not in front of somebody, to me, is wasted time. I got to do what I can to get in front of as many people as possible. And that's really, I'd say, probably the number one tip. But yeah, let's kind of go through some keys to success here. For number one, you got to be willing to bet on yourself. And in order to be successful and to put up these kind of numbers, you have to have a steady flow of leads. It's essential. So if you're new to the business, I'd recommend, to get started, I'd recommend order some Facebook leads. Also order some direct mail leads. The reason that you'll need to order both is because direct mail leads, those are going to take a good 3 to 4 weeks to come in. So in the meantime, you're going to have to focus on working Facebook leads. I guess even if you got to maybe place one Facebook lead order first, go out and make some sales, earn some money, and then get those direct mails going, great. But again, you got to be willing to bet on yourself. You got to be willing to invest in yourself, and you got to be willing to take risks. You can't be afraid to spend money. Number two, you got to remove any thoughts of failure from your mind. When you're purchasing leads, you got to know that there's sales to be made in those leads. And a lot of times I've heard people say, I don't have a whole lot of money for leads. What happens if I don't make any sales? Well, if that's what's stuck in the back of your mind, there's a good chance you're not going to make many sales, if any. You got to know going in, you're going to make sales off those leads, but you got to be willing to spend the money and like I said, and invest, and don't take shortcuts. If I tell someone to order new leads, order new Facebook leads, and do your own direct mail orders, it makes a difference. You can't shortcut it. You can't take things that I try to teach you and then spin them around and say, well, that all sounds good, but I just don't have the money for new Facebook leads, or I'd rather order aged direct mail leads. Well, you're not going to get the same sort of results then. So don't take shortcuts. Don't settle for making one sale a day. For a while, when I first got back out in the field, that was something that was kind of stuck in my mind. If I can at least make one sale a day, things will be good. Again, I left, I was with that other company for 7.5 years. I walked away from a lot of like guaranteed income off of override commissions from agents, things like that. And I needed to figure out ways to kind of make that money back. But the problem was that was all I had instilled in my mind, was I just needed to make enough money to make up for what I'm losing. And I changed that mindset now to, I'm not going to be happy if I only make one sale a day. I know that I have enough leads. I know that I'm going to have enough people to be able to go see that. To me, one sale a day is not going to be a success for myself. It's great. It's better than going home with nothing. There are days that happens. But I'll be honest, I couldn't tell you the last time I came home without one sale. But again, it's because I have that mindset of I have to make at least one sale. I want to make a heck of a lot more than that in a day. And you got to have some structure to your week. This is something that I've gotten a lot better at. Forever. You could even go back and watch some of my old YouTube videos. One video I even said, the best way to not have to worry about having no shows when you're out in the field is to not set up appointments. It's kind of a joke, but seriously, all I'd ever used to do is just take leads, put routes together, and go out and see people. And I made sales, and I was successful, but then I realized that if I could have a little bit more structure than that, if I could have a set schedule full of appointments for the day, I'm going to, even if some of those appointments aren't home, there's still going to be a really good fraction of those people that will be home, and just that many more guaranteed opportunities to make sales, where I could take a bunch of leads and put a route together and just door knock leads for the day. I mean, there's a chance I might only catch a few people at home. Uh, so now I'm kind of doing a combination of both. I hired an appointment setter. For those of you that have the funds to do so, I'd recommend it. I think it's a great investment. It does help with having that structure and having that, like I said, guaranteed people to see every day. For those of you that are new, that are maybe just getting started, figure out a way maybe to work that into your schedule. Even if you're maybe calling at night to set up appointments for the next day, you could even get up early and start making calls for the same day. But figure out ways to kind of fill up your schedule. And again, the easiest way for that to happen is to build up that inventory of leads where you're consistently ordering those leads every single week. One thing that's helped me with the appointment setter is that there's leads that I'll be working out in the field where you keep trying, you just can't get a hold of the people. They just don't come to the door. Maybe you can't even reach them over the phone, and you give up on those leads and you start moving on to the next. Well, the appointment setter, they're going to keep calling those old leads. I mean, I had an appointment a couple weeks ago off of a lead that was from like December. So, and again, that was a lead that I had already given up on, and I was able to get in the house and make a sale on it. The lady was home. So, like I said, having a little bit of structure, but most importantly, you got to be willing to put in the time. You could hop on the training and you could take notes and everything could really make sense to you, but you got to be willing to implement it. You got to be willing to get out and do it. And you got to be willing to put the time in. I'm going to go through my schedule with you and kind of show you what I'm doing. And there's reasons behind why I'm only working 3 days. You could do the same though, but you could probably work at least 5 days a week. But I'm going to show you kind of the reasoning behind why I do what I'm doing. And it's because I'm doing more than just personal production. We're looking on really building something here. So some other useful tools that I would recommend. This is just the one that I use, and I know there's others as well. You're going to want a mapping program or an app for your phone. I use one on my iPhone. It's called En Route. I think it's about maybe $5 a month, and it does everything you need it to do. I think there's others like Road Warrior. I've never used Road Warrior. I don't really think that probably has any features that En Route does not have. And I think Road Warrior might even cost a little bit more. So the En Route has worked really well for me to put routes together, make it very simple. And then I also use, and these might just be Apple apps. I don't know for sure if they are available on Android or not. I mean, I have an iPhone and an iPad, but if they are not available on Android, I'm sure there's probably apps that are pretty comparable. The second app that I use on my iPad is Notability. This has been very useful. It's helped me to stay much more organized. I'm no longer printing my leads out. All of my leads I load up onto my iPad, and they all go into Notability. And one thing that's cool with Notability, you can search when you're in like a certain note. You can search different words, and it'll show you all of the leads. That, let's say if I just type in a zip code, well, then it'll show me all of the leads that are all within that one zip code. So it helps me when I want to be able to like put a route together, when I kind of want to figure out where I'm going next. You can write right on it with your iPad and like your Apple Pencil. So you can take notes right on those leads. It'll also save it to the cloud. And then I categorize all the leads in this Notability. into separate notes. I'll have one section in there that's just all of my active leads. I can also sort them by location if I want. I can set a folder for like follow-ups. Let's say I met with a lead and maybe I didn't write it and I need to follow up on it. Well, I can pull that out of my actives and I can put it into my follow-ups. I even have a folder for not interested. If I can't get anywhere at the door and my appointment setter couldn't get anywhere with it, well, then I'll put it in my not interested folder and then a sold folder. So like I said, it's really helped me to be more organized, and I don't have a whole bunch of leads laying all over my car. I mean, that was what was happening. I would just have piles of leads all over the place. It was hard to stay organized. And now everything is just in this Notability, the active leads folder that I have on there. It's just getting bigger and bigger. And then when I'm in an area, maybe I have an hour to kill, I can plug in the zip code and it'll show me all those leads that I have that are all within that zip. And then I can maybe put a quick route together and just off of those leads. So no, another thing too, if you have carriers where maybe you still have some paper apps, maybe they don't just have e-apps. That's another thing. I mean, you can do all of your applications right on Notability. You can save it to like your iCloud or other storages that you have, and then you can upload them right in the carrier portals. So again, very helpful. For instance, I had an amendment with a company last week that I needed to get signed. Well, real easy, right? In the Notability, the guy can sign it, and then I can shoot it right back over to the company. So, but just a few little tips, few useful tools that I've been using that have definitely helped me out in the field. So this is what my week currently looks like. Monday is my office day. I do my trainings like what you're on right now, Monday mornings. Every Monday morning, 10 a.m. Central, I'm doing my trainings. You're more than welcome to hop on every week. Register at adambrsan.com and you'll receive an email each week of what the upcoming topic's going to be. My Mondays, I'm just focusing on my trainings, social media, setting up different posts and things for the week, correspondence with agents and carriers, keeping up with my business, and then also recruiting. So again, my goal here is to build something, not just personally producing. We do have agents that are writing. We're putting up some pretty decent premium all of a sudden. So things are going pretty well. But that's my Monday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm out in the field. Full days of selling out in the field. Appointments from 9 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. And then I'm door knocking leads whenever there's a no-show or there's a gap in the day without an appointment set. So, and I'm telling you, boy, that 9 a.m. appointment, it definitely helps having the appointment setter, because if I don't have that appointment setter set me up that 9 a.m. appointment, there's a chance I might not get out of my house as quickly. So it really helps to get me up and out and ready to go for the day by just having that early appointment set. If they're not home, you know what? Oh, well, that I'm already out in the field then. I'm ready to get going for the day. So it's definitely helped for sure. And then Friday is, again, office day, kind of doing the same thing, training, social media, trying to put some YouTube videos together, things like that. And then Saturday and Sunday, just appointments as needed. If somebody can only meet with me on a Saturday, and that's the only day that works, well, then I'll figure out a way to make that happen, because, they need help and I'm willing to help them. And if I have to sacrifice some time on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm willing to do so. So this is just kind of like what the schedule looks like. Like I said, 9 a.m. and then every hour and a half, I have an appointment booked. So 9 a.m., 10:30, 12, 1:30, 3, 4:30, and 6 o'clock at night. And you'll notice too, I mean, I'm going to go through my whole week last week with you, kind of show you exactly what my week looked like from beginning to end. And sometimes you might show up a little bit late to an appointment. It happens. But it helps, even if there's a no-show where there's not a whole lot of time in between. If I was 2 hours, setting them 2 hours out, well, I don't feel like I would get as much accomplished for the day. And then again, when there's no shows or there's just times where there's open gaps where there's no appointment set, well then I'm gonna door knock leads. So the night before your day of appointments, okay? So if you're setting up appointments or if you have someone that you're going to find that can set up appointments for you, well, make sure your calendar is correct with their name, address, phone number. I think it for me it really helps to make sure I just have everything loaded in my iPhone. If their address is on there, I can just click the address. I just use the Apple Maps to guide me to the first appointment. Number two, plan your day as if each appointment won't be home. Uh, Kind of a weird way to look at it, but plan as though they're not going to be there. And what I mean by that, go through your leads and plan ahead. If your first appointment's not home, what are you going to do? Who are you going to go see before your next appointment? What other leads do you have in that area where you can put a route together and you can knock on some doors before that next appointment? And again, if you're a little late to the next appointment, no big deal. And so organize, like I said, organize your leads that you have in that area around those appointments, put a route together. And again, back to that quote at the beginning, the only time you're working is when you're sitting in front of someone who can say yes to what you are offering. Do whatever it takes to sit in front of as many people as possible throughout your workday. You aren't making money sitting in your car wasting time. So if your 9 a.m. appointment isn't home, don't just sit around for an hour and a half. Find other people to go see. And again, it makes it a lot easier when you have that steady flow of leads coming in where you start to build up that inventory and you have a lot of other people that you can see that are right down the street. There's a lot of leads. As much as I love having the appointment setter set up the appointments, there's a lot of people that just are not answering their phones. They see a number come across. If they don't recognize it, they just don't pick up. And I mean, my appointment setter, they could leave a text, they could leave a voicemail. It doesn't matter. A lot of times they just won't call back. But so it gives me plenty of people where I can still go door knock that have been contacted. And I don't even look at the notes that my appointment setter makes. I mean, they might have called and that person might have just told them that they weren't interested. I don't care. They weren't interested over the phone. That doesn't mean they're not going to be interested when I show up and I show them the card that they filled out. So yeah, I guess that would be another tip. Don't worry if your appointment setter wasn't able to set up an appointment with them, or even if you got turned down over the phone. I mean, rule of thumb, I've always told agents that if you call and you try to set up that appointment and you can't get anywhere with it, 2 days later, show up at their house. They're not even going to realize you're the same person that they had shut down over the phone. So, but anyways, like I said, put routes together, plan as though each appointment's not going to be home. So then if they are home, great. But if they're not, you're already going to have your day figured out. You're already going to know your next move. And you're already going to have a route of people that you can go see that are around that lead. I'd say either around the lead where you're at right there, or wherever your next appointment is, even within that surrounding area. So that way, at least, like I said, you're not making money when you're just sitting in your car doing nothing. So this is my week last week, last Tuesday. I got a ton of leads. I mean, it was a little upsetting, but I wasn't going to let it get to me that I didn't have any appointments set from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I was really hoping for a full day of appointments, but hey, sometimes it happens. But again, like I said, you just got to plan ahead for it. So I put together a route in an area where I had some Facebook leads that needed to be worked. There were leads that I just hadn't gotten around to yet that I'd say I probably had maybe 10 to 12 leads that were all within maybe 5 to 10 miles from each other. So I put the route together. And that's the thing with Facebook leads. They are going to be further apart. You're not going to have nearly as many people that you're going to be able to knock out at one time because you're going to be doing much more driving in between stops. But anyways, I put the route together, ran the Facebook leads, really honestly didn't catch a whole lot of people at home. And it was like getting down to crunch time where it's like, all right, I'm either going to knock on one or two more doors, or I'm just going to have to head to this next appointment that's set at 3 o'clock. So I finally got into a house. It was a husband and wife. The husband, he already had a bunch of insurance. He was pretty ill also, and he was the one who filled out the card, or not the card. He actually was the one who responded on the Facebook ad, and so I originally just was kind of going through it with him. The wife was just kind of sitting there. Uh, in the end, the wife was really the one who needed the coverage more than he did. He already had a policy, I think, through like his job that he had retired from. She didn't have any coverage. But like I told her, what's going to be easier, you paying a little bit every month, or your family having to worry about coming up with $10,000 overnight? And she agreed. And that's what she did. I think it was a $10,000 policy. It was only like maybe $34 or $35 a month. So it was a small sale, but it was worth the time spent, better than going from 9 to 3 without anything. So at that point, it was 2:30. I had that 3 o'clock appointment, and I realized when I got out of there, I was about an hour away from that appointment. So I tried calling the person who the appointment that I had, and they didn't answer their phone. She didn't answer her phone, but I was still going to go. I mean, it was appointment set, and again, that mindset I have is that just a lot of people don't answer their phones. If they don't recognize the number, they might just not pick up. I could text her. She might not respond to the text, but I'm going to still show up. So I drove out there. I got there about 3:30 and knocked on the door, rang the doorbell. Nobody was home. And so, I walked around the back, didn't see anybody, went back to my car. And then I was putting my route together. Like I said, I'm going to plan for my next move. And I got back to the car. I was probably sitting in my car maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and a car pulled in that driveway. And right away, I hopped out of the car. I mean, I don't even think she had a foot out of the car yet by the time I was standing in front of her at the driveway. And, hey, I'm just here. We had the appointment set, and I know I'm a little late, but I guess it worked out because it looks like you're late too. And she laughed. And anyways, I got in the door, and I ended up writing 2 policies for her, totaling over $1,900 in premiums. So, I mean, heck, if I was not planning ahead for my next move, that appointment might not have been home, and I might have just said, "Oh, screw it," and just drove off, and who knows where I would have went. But anyways, I ended up getting in the house. It was a pretty lengthy appointment. Like I said, by the time I got in there, it was probably maybe 10 to 4. I was in that house probably for at least a couple hours. I wrote 2 separate policies on her, a $20,000 policy with one company because she liked the benefits that plan had to offer. If you didn't watch my training last week, get on YouTube and watch it. I talked about selling on value over price, and I sold her a product that had a really nice feature with some funeral benefits where they help out and they work with the family, and they help save the family some money, and they just make sure things go smoothly and easy. And she really loved those benefits. But then she also wanted a grandchild rider. She had like a dozen grandkids that she wanted to put on a policy. And the company that I wrote that policy with, they won't take grandchildren on a rider. I think it's like over the age of 15. So anyways, I added a separate policy. Rather than doing 30,000 with the one company, I did 20,000 with the one, and then I did 10 with the other, and I added that grandchild rider. So like I said, 2 policies on the same person, added the grandchild rider on the one, totaled over $1,900 in premium. So after that, I walked out of the appointment, and unfortunately I had a flat tire, and it kind of cut my day a little bit short. And I mean, at that point, it was like 6:30 at night, and I knew that I had a 9 a.m. appointment the next day, and I did not want to have to reschedule that appointment. I didn't want it to mess up my day having to go in the morning to get my tires looked at or whatever. So I found a place not too far from my appointment, and I got my tires swapped out. By the time I got out of there, it was about 8 o'clock at night, and at that point, I was just ready to go home. So end of the day, just under 2,400. So like I said, it was a combination. I door knocked leads during the day until I wrote the one app, and then I had to get to the appointment. And then I wrote the business on that appointment. And then, like I said, at that point, unfortunately, my day got cut a little bit short, and I had to head home. So Wednesday was my big day of the week. I had a full day set full of appointments, like from 9 all the way to 6. Every single spot was full for the day. It was great. Was all pumped up and excited and ready to go for the day. First appointment showed up, $10,000 policy, wrote him. It was $1,500 in premium. I mean, the guy I think he was like in his upper 70s. So the premium was a little bit higher. And then the next stop, it was a no-show. And I noticed on my 9 a.m. appointment, I was actually running a little bit low on some materials. So I took that time. I ran over to a FedEx office and I printed up some materials. So then I would have them for the rest of the day. Next appointment, 12 o'clock. I wrote that one up, $20,000 policy. Took a little bit longer than expected. That one was $1,700 in premium. And these were both direct mail leads. The 9 a.m., the 12 p.m. was a direct mail. 1:30, also a direct mail lead. I was running a little bit late. I got to that appointment about 10 to 2. Like I said, sometimes, heck, if you're right in business, sometimes it takes a little bit longer than expected. And heck, if you're late, you're late. And anyways, I wrote a husband and wife. They were both older as well. Just wrote them $6,000 a piece. They already had some existing coverage. They were just kind of looking to add to what they have. And so totaled a little over $1,600 in premium in that house. And then I had a 3 o'clock appointment set it was about 45 minutes away. And I called the guy and he actually wasn't home either. So it kind of worked out and we ended up rescheduling it. So, but it actually worked out well. It gave me really just enough time to get to my 4:30 appointment. And at that appointment, it's some business that's to come. To be quite honest, I'm not super pushy in the house. If they're not quite ready yet, I mean, I'll make note of that and I'll go back. But the lady was not able to start it until September. She said, I got some other bills that I'm clearing up, and then I'll be ready to go by September. So I said, okay, great. I think I have an appointment set to go back and see her like the beginning of next week. So, and that's like a sure sale too. It's for her and I think a few of her children, and it's going to total over $1,600 in premium. So now that is not added into my total of $11,000 for the week. That's going to be added into future weeks. But that's business that I feel pretty confident. I bet there's a 95% chance that I end up writing it. Then I had a 6 o'clock appointment. So I was already at a little over $5,000 in premium for the day before my 6 o'clock appointment. So I got to the six o'clock appointment. It was an 83-year-old lady. I think she had cancer. She said that she wasn't going to go through any kind of treatment, that she was just going to eat better and hope for the best. And so, I mean, I wouldn't have felt really very comfortable writing that business anyways, even a guaranteed issue. I mean, there's still a possibility that, she unfortunately might not live a couple years, and then that's a big risk there. So, but anyways, that one I was in and out of pretty quickly. A lot of agents, after their 6 p.m. appointment, they might just head home for the day. Hey, I already wrote $5,400 in premium for the day. Pretty good day. Time to go home. Well, I didn't do that. I had other leads in that area that still needed to be worked. So, I put the route together of some leads that I had in that area, and I was going to door knock leads until probably 8 o'clock at night. I ended up getting in a house at 7:30 and got right in the house, and same thing, boy. I wrote a husband and wife. I think I wrote maybe 25,000 on the husband and 30,000 on the wife. And it totaled over 2,700 in premium. So I'm telling you, boy, it pays to not go home early. It pays to stay out. You're going to catch people that are working during the day, that the only time you could even reach them maybe is after 5 o'clock at night. And I mean, that was a prime example. I mean, 7:30 at night, no problem. They let me right in the house. Some people might say, oh, that's too late to door knock leads. Well, I got in the door. I mean, like I said, I mean, I'll door knock a lead until 8 o'clock at night, especially in the summertime when it doesn't get dark until almost 9 o'clock at night. So, that point I got out of that stop, it was 9 o'clock at night and it was time to head home. So, I got home a little before 10 o'clock, but that's another thing. I set up these 3 days, 9 in the morning till 6 o'clock appointments. And I mean, my wife, she knows going in, she cannot depend on me at all those 3 days that I'm going to be out in the field. I mean, she's just going to have to figure things out. If my kids have activities and maybe she's got something else going on, she's going to have to figure out a way for them to be able to get to those activities, or if she has something else to do, she's just going to have to find somebody to watch the kids. And she's been very helpful with that too. And I really appreciate that. But that's just kind of how it has to be. So if you have stuff outside of work and that you have to focus on work, think of it this way. If you had a full-time job, if you were getting paid a salary, you have to be at work at a certain time. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Well, you got to treat this the same way. Even though you're independent, you're putting your day together, and it's very easy to cut off work at 2:30 because your kids have to be picked up from school at 3. But I mean, look at all the money that you're walking away from. So again, you got to focus on, remember, well, I look at it this way. I'm doing this for them. I'm doing this for my family, for my wife, and for my kids. So, I hope they understand that's why I'm not here those 3 days. But then I have four days in a row that I'm home with them. So they get it. I think they understand. So then Thursday was an okay day. I had a few appointments that I didn't really get anywhere with. My 9 a.m. appointment, he couldn't really afford much. Like, I think all he could handle was like maybe $25 a month, and he just wasn't ready to do it yet. And he and Han around. I might get somewhere with the guy, but I'm not really too confident on that one. The 1031 too, they took out a policy not that long ago. It looked pretty decent, but I might be able to get somewhere with them. I think I'm scheduled to maybe call and follow up with them, but kind of the same thing. My first 2 appointments weren't anything too exciting or very promising, but that's part of it. You're not gonna write business like that prior day where almost every house I got in I was writing. You're gonna have days where you're not gonna write every single person that you go see. So then the 12 o'clock appointment, I wrote a $20,000 policy, $1,400 in premium. Nice little, catch up after those first 2 knockdowns, I guess you could say. And then 1:30, I was running late. I think I got there about 2 o'clock. Same thing as the other day. This guy, he wants a policy. He knows he needs a policy. It was actually a referral. His mother had referred him to me. So to me, that's a guaranteed sale. He'll get in big trouble if he doesn't take out a policy after his mom told him that he needs to. So that's a sure sale. It's just a matter of when I'm going to go write it. And it's probably going to be either later this week or next week. 4:30 appointment, no show. So then I put together a route. Like I said, you always got to plan ahead. You always got to have those leads prepared and ready. And, like I said, I mean, it was a busy week. I was tired. I mean, I had a big day that day before. I didn't get home till 10 o'clock at night. I was tired, but I knew also on Thursday that, Friday's my office day. So, I'll be tired. So I kept door knocking leads, and same thing. I got another one that the lady, she needs it. I actually started writing the app, but then she said, I just can't start it until September. And it was too far out where the company wouldn't accept it. So anyways, I have to go back and write it. And I'm going back next Tuesday to write it. 6:30 was a no-show. I put together a route, and I door knocked leads up until 8 o'clock at night. Didn't really have a whole lot of success at that point. Was ready to head home for the day. So total AP for the day, 1,400. And like I said, over those 3 days, I don't even think I put the total on here, but over those 3 days, it was like just under 11,500 in premium. So, and again, it's because I had that structure, because I had those appointments set. It forced me to get out of my house early, whether the appointments were home or not. I got me out of there early, and I was prepared and ready. And And like I said, back to that quote at the beginning, have that mindset. The only time you're working is when you're sitting in front of somebody that can say yes to your product or your offering. Anything else is preparatory. So, and always be ready for that next move. What am I going to do next? Who am I going to go see now? This person wasn't home, so who can I go see now? And that's just, I'm nonstop. If you got to pack a lunch, pack a lunch. If you're stopping to have lunch, well, you're wasting time. So just, you got to stay in the groove. You got to stay motivated. You just got to keep going and going and going. And that's how I am out in the field. I'm like, like the Energizer Bunny, just nonstop, just keep going and going and going. But that's why I've been very successful out in the field the last few weeks, because that's, like I said, I treat it like more than just a 9-to-5 job. I'm out there from 9 o'clock until sometimes 9 or 10 o'clock at night. You got to be willing to put the time in. And you know what? Anybody will tell you, I don't care if they're writing business face to face or over the phone. It takes work. And you can put up big numbers, but you're going to be putting the time in. There's, like I said earlier, there's no easy ways. There's no shortcuts. There's no simple, easy way to make money. You got to get out there and just hit it hard and put the time in. And so if you like what you heard today, if what I taught you today makes sense, and in the future, maybe you'd like to work together, check out unitylifegroup.com. That is my agency. I'd be more than happy to set up a call with you. We have opportunities for in-home sales, telesales. We have a lead program. We have lead financing available. People that don't have a lot of money to get started, we can finance you leads, get you out in the field and see some people. And you'll make some sales, and those leads will pay for themselves. Weekly trainings, again, every single Monday, I have trainings on different topics. Excellent opportunity here to build a team. I'm definitely looking to build something big, and I'm looking for people that have that same mindset. And, the great thing about coming to work with us is that we're not built up yet. You could get going with some of these different organizations out there where you have a manager who has a manager who has a manager who has a manager. There's like 5 or 6 people above you. Where here, you really have the opportunity to really build something big, because you can grow within and with our organization. We're just kind of getting rolling here. And multiple carrier options. I like to keep it simple. I would say right now I'm primarily writing with about maybe 3 or 4 companies. Every once in a while, I have a one-off that maybe I'm placing somewhere else. But we have, multiple carrier options. We have high-level contracts available too, especially for those that have been in the business a long time, that are looking for new opportunities. Maybe those that have a team and they want to bring their whole team of agents over with us. We got room to make that happen. So check us out, unitylifegroup.com. Give me a call and sign up for our weekly trainings, adambrsan.com. And every single week you'll be notified of our future trainings. And then you can also check out the YouTube channel. I load all of these trainings on YouTube. So this should be on YouTube later today. You can go back and watch it if you'd like. And I hope it helps. So let's see. I think that's about all I had for today. Looks like there's a few comments here. Let me get on here and see if there's anything that I need to answer here. Someone asked about the script that the appointment setter's using. And Arthur, I can give you a call later, and I can kind of go through that with you. You also asked about a presentation. Yeah, anybody who wants my presentation, I'd be happy to share it with you. Shoot me an email, or even get on the, like I said, get on unitylifegroup.com and shoot over an inquiry and send me a note. And I'd be happy to send you the presentation that I use. And get back on YouTube. I went through that a few weeks ago too. I went through my whole presentation that I use in the home. So feel free to check that out. And like I said, for years, I was so against setting appointments because I just had it instilled in my mind that what's the point of setting up appointments when half of them aren't going to be home anyways. And so I kind of shifted gears, and I don't think that way anymore. I realized that just by having just a little bit of structure to my day, even if even if only half of the appointments were home, if and I have 7 appointments booked, well, even if 4 of them are home, that's still 4 opportunities to make sales, 4 people that I know for sure I'm going to be sitting in front of that day. Where if I'm just door knocking leads all day, I'm lucky to get in front of 4 people. So, like I said, I think that having just that little bit of structure, setting up those appointments it definitely helps. If you can hire an appointment setter, great. If not, maybe like I said, plan at nighttime. These are all things, all preparatory work that you can do at night when you're at home. Even if you got to make calls on your way home from your last stop, if you have it all set up, you can do that. But set up your day, fill it up full of appointments and people to go see. Don't set those appointments out further than a day, though. Uh, if you're calling on Sunday, call for Monday, maybe Tuesday at the latest. If you call further out than that, then there's a good chance that they're not going to be home. But the closer you can set that appointment up to the time that you're calling, the better chance that they're going to be there. So thanks again, everybody. I enjoyed meeting with y'all today. And like I said, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, if you need anything. I hope you have a great week and good luck out there.